Yes, I've been gone, but just getting adjusted. I'm back home in Florida now, and I feel like it's the right time to tell you guys how my experience has been leaving Spain and what a mess it was, really, trying to escape Spain before the lockdown happened with the coronavirus. So I just want to give you guys a little story time. So sit down, get your drinks and your popcorn and whatever, and we're just going to sit down for a second. So first I want to talk about my experience escaping Spain. And so this has to do with my last video. Um, I said I was going to leave the next day, and the next day Trump started the travel ban, and it was a mess, really. Um, I tried to get a flight. All the flights were booked, and I'm talking about these flights were over $1,000 to get back to the U.S. So that was a huge thing for me, just trying to leave. And then I finally found a ticket for Saturday. And at that point, I was staying at my residence, and all the Spaniards left. All the Spaniard girls, they went back home. They live in southern Spain. And it was me and a couple other American girls, and we were the last ones in the residence. So we all booked a flight for Saturday, but with different airlines. So when I got to the airport, it was crazy. I got all my things, I took an Uber to the airport, and then I found out that the carrier, the airlines, it shut down all the flights. Now, it was confusing what Trump said, because he said that I guess Europeans can't get back to America, but Americans can. So that was the problem, because the airlines just shut down the whole flight. It didn't matter if you were American or European, really, they canceled the flight. And I was spazzing out, because at this point, the flights were so limited. And this was like mid-March at that time, and the flights were still very limited. So I WhatsApped my other American friend, and they had a flight, an earlier flight to New York, and I was supposed to get to New York as well. And she said, well, I think there's another flight that's a little bit later. And oh my gosh, I thank God, because they saved me, really, because I don't know when I would be able to leave, because at that moment, Saturday, I was at the airport. Everything was closed. Like, it locked down the minute I got to the airport. And that hasn't just happened for me, it happened for other students as well, where they got to the airport and then the whole country really goes into lockdown. And so at that point, that's when I booked the flight, and I was really happy because I finally got to get out of Spain. And even though I love Spain, being trapped in a country when you know that everything is falling apart is not where you want to be, even though Spain is such a dream, and I love it there. So I guess I could offer a few tips. When I got to the airline line, I met other study abroad students as well, and I was in panic mode, because I was like, oh my gosh, I hope this flight does not cancel as well. And so talking to the other students really helped me a lot, because I didn't feel like I was alone. There were another group of study abroad students, and we all didn't know each other. We were all from different programs. We studied in different areas, and I was flying out from Madrid going to New York. But they were Americans, and they were talking to me, and it felt so great to know that you're not alone. So that's what I really liked a lot about that. And so the journey, I believe, was like over 8 hours, because we were stalled at the airport at JFK once we flew into JFK, because they took our temperatures, and we were in this whole line. We had to sign a paper really saying how we weren't sick, and our contact info, because at that time the corona was still spreading around. But that was it. And it was cool, because they checked our temperature with, I believe, like this device. We would just walk up to them, and they would screen us from a distance, and they'd be like, okay, 97.6, okay, you could go. And I was like, oh my gosh, but I wasn't sick. The minute that I landed and all of that, I was still in great health. but I believe there were probably others people on the plane that were sick. So it was crazy. The lines totally full. And it took me, I believe, waiting in the line about 2 hours once I landed. So that time of stalling and checking temperatures and waiting in line to get out of the airport was crazy. And so when I got out of JFK, I had another flight to Orlando. And so that was the next day. So I slept
in the airport, all my suitcases, all my suitcases.
For I think 8+ hours until I could go to Orlando. And so when I got to Orlando, I was so happy because I have all my family here.
Yeah, and they embraced me, but not like a true physical embrace, because they're like, okay, Elise, now you're in quarantine for 14 days.
So they split up the house, and I had like my own section of the house. I carried like a bleach spray with me, like with everything that I touched, but I did that for 2 weeks. So now I'm just coming to you guys. I'm off of quarantine, but we're all kind of quarantined in the house now. But I'm lucky and I feel blessed that I'm able to go out a little bit. And I'm not talking about going into stores and all of that, but just able to walk. Florida, we have like a lot of space. I live in around the Orlando area, so I'm able to go on a trail if I want to, you know, just remain in the social distancing. And I'm happy that I'm able to do that. But the world is spinning. A lot of people are losing their jobs, and online schooling is just another topic. So that was my experience. It kind of just sums up a little bit of my experience trying to get back. And I guess another tip that I would have to give when you're fleeing a country, you're trying to leave a country, you have to stay calm. You may freak out in your head, but you don't want to show that you're freaking out. You know what I'm saying? You want to remain calm, you want to remain positive, and hopefully you're able to make the right decisions to get out. And so with me landing here, and I was one of the first students that got back from my university in the United States. Other students were stuck in France, the United Kingdom, Morocco, and I was offering them advice as well on how to get back, you know, because it was crazy. It was like the video that I made beforehand, I was like, yeah, I'm leaving, but I didn't want to go.
No, you have to break that. You have to be like, no, it's time to go. You have to leave that behind.
You got to talk yourself into leaving, because it could mean that you're going to stay in the country for indefinitely. You don't know, because this corona, it's going to take a long time to get the vaccine, to get the cure, and to solve. And I just saw from my own eyes countries locking up. And so I'm really happy that I made it back and made it through quarantine. Now I'm just at home and trying to get by with online school. So I'll make a second video talking to you guys about how online school is and what my perspective is and how to get through it. So until next time, guys, stay in tune. Bye.